Hey connoisseurs, we're here at Qualia Coffee with the owner and roastmaster, Joel Finkelstein, and we're here to ask him a few questions. So can you tell us a little bit about the philosophy of Qualia Coffee?
Sure. I mean, I think to sum it up, our basic philosophy is to treat roasted coffee more like fresh produce, whereas a lot of the market treats it more like bulk goods, something you can sit on the shelf for days on end. So all of our coffee we sell within 3 days of when it's roasted. That way customers get it in the short window of time where coffee is absolutely at its best. It's still good for about 2 weeks after that, but if a customer wants to get coffee at the absolute peak, they really need to get it in 3 days. We also really focus on the individual beans, the single origin of the coffee. The origin character is really important to us. We do lattes and all that stuff, but we offer 12 different coffees on any given day, and so it's nice to be able to give people the option of trying all these different coffees.
So as far as tasting coffees when they hit their peak, do you have any recommendations for budding coffee connoisseurs to maybe taste those differences?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do is just try a lot of different coffees. Play around with your brewing method a bit, try tweaking it, because everything you do with coffee is going to bring out different flavors, going to give you a slightly different experience. Drinking the coffee over the first few days, it'll change those first few days after roasting. But yeah, at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is really just try a lot of different coffee.
Okay, so you probably experimented a lot with beans. I guess what were you doing before you started roasting beans, and how did you get into it?
That's kind of a longer story. I'll try to sum it up for you. I was actually a freelance healthcare reporter before this for about 12 years. Got really interested in coffee and did not have access to good coffee where I was, so I started roasting at home. And there's a very strong contingent of home roasters online who sort of walked me through the process. So I learned a lot of things just roasting at home, built my first commercial roaster off of a barbecue grill, and started going to farmers markets and selling my whole bean coffee to just directly to customers. Decided I really liked doing it that way versus becoming a wholesaler and selling it to a retail storefront. So after a while, I decided, let's move this business out of the kitchen, and my girlfriend was getting pretty tired of 700 pounds of green coffee sitting around, so I decided to open a storefront and get serious.
Okay, so going into your storefront, why did you choose DC and Petworth, DC in particular?
Well, basically, I just hate commuting. So Petworth is where I live. I found a great space that I've had my eye on for years. It combined all the elements that we needed. It's kind of a cozy space. It had room for roasting, sort of roasting area here. It has extra storage for green coffee. It has a parking pad so we can drop pallets of coffee, because we buy 700 to 900 pounds of coffee at a time. Just had kind of the nice little elements, and it was about a 5-minute bike ride from home, so it was fate.
Nice, bike riding. So why do you call it Qualia Coffee? We know you also have another bean blog called Hot Off the Roast.
Fresh
Off the Roast, excuse me.
Well, Fresh Off the Roast was my original company. It's actually the name of the overall arching company. That's the name of the roasting. It's actually the roasting label. So that was, the concept there was, fresh off the boat, fresh off the roast. We really try to get our coffee seasonal. So we're really buying coffee that's just recently arrived in the country. So it's kind of a pun. When I opened the coffee shop, I decided fresh off the... People kept getting confused. Fresh off the roast, they thought, oh, you're opening a barbecue restaurant. No, I'm opening a coffee shop. So we decided to go with something a little more succinct. I really like the concept of qualia. Qualia are actually, it's a philosophical term that refers to the indescribable experience of the senses. Basically the idea that there are certain things that we experience in life that we can't quite convey with words. We have to internalize them, and then we can sort of share that experience, but you can't really tell someone else what it's like. And so for me, coffee is really, each coffee has such an amazing and unique depth to it that we can share that experience, but we can't necessarily converse about it and tell another person what it's like without them experiencing it for themselves.
Okay. Well, do you have anything special you'd like to tell us about your roaster, how you achieve these flavors?
Yeah, well, one of the things is we roast in small batches. So we roast every day. We roast anywhere from 20 to 60 pounds a day. So we get to get a lot of experience with each of the beans in terms of the qualities in which they roast. We also use a fairly sophisticated profiling system that tracks 7 different temperature points. And so we get a lot. We get a lot of data when we roast. We can use that to go back once we have a chance to taste the coffees 2 or 3 days down the road and say, what about this roasting profile do we like, or what don't we like? And so we're constantly fine-tuning the roasts. We also have three people who roast here, so we can have some consistency between those people, because the program allows us to essentially track the current roast based on a historical roast profile. So we do a lot of data, we do a lot of tasting, and we do a little. It's more artisan than consistency, but it's always interesting.
Cool. So do you have any last comments or any coffee qualms that you'd like to talk about owning a coffee shop?
One of the reasons I got into coffee, and one of the things that I find interesting about coffee is really the character of the origin. Each coffee is very different based on where it's grown, how it's grown, how it's processed, how it's roasted, how it's brewed. So my focus has always really been on the beans themselves. So I enjoy a good latte. Everybody enjoys it, but really that's more milk than coffee. So for me, the thing that makes coffee exciting, makes coffee interesting, is the complexity of the individual beans, just drinking it black. There's about 400 flavor constituents in the average coffee bean, so there's a lot to explore there without mixing in other flavors or milk.
Yeah. Well, you heard it from here. No more cream in your coffees. Well, thank you for being with us today, Joel. Appreciate it.
Okay.